Oh, I can.
Okay, we're good.
Yeah. Okay, we're good. Okay, we'll just have you do the recording, and then I can walk you through how to upload it and everything.
Okay, sounds good. Okay. My name is Samantha Phillips, and I'm going to be doing an informative speech about Prince Harry and Meghan Markle leaving the royal family because of the media. So as a little girl, I always dreamed of joining the royal family and meeting a prince. I feel like many people can relate to that growing up. And I always thought the royal family was just absolutely perfect. And so when Meghan Markle got to join the royal family, I was absolutely thrilled. I thought she'd be the perfect person, perfect role model. I was just so happy. Throughout the years, I somewhat kept up with the royal family. So it was a pretty much complete shock to me whenever they announced that they were leaving. And so diving deeper into it, the royal family, it comes with a lot of pressures and a lot of standards and the consequences of meeting those standards. And when Meghan Markle was faced with these standards, she was met with harsh criticism and rejection. The British media did anything they could just to find a good story, and this included exploiting her and her family. But first, let's talk about who Prince Harry even is. This is a family tree of the royal family. Up here is Queen Elizabeth, and as most of you know, she passed away. So now is her first son, which is King Charles now. And so if he were to pass away, it would go down to Prince William. And then if he were to pass away, it would go through all of his 3 kids and then up to Prince Harry. So the chances of Prince Harry to be king at all are very slim. And so it wasn't like whenever they did step down, Britain was losing their future king, or most likely their future king. But being in the royal family is just met with pretty much no privacy invaded all the time. And this dates back to Prince Harry's mother, Princess Diana. There's a video on YouTube by Ostros in 2022 that was published, and it takes a video clip that dates back about 25 years, and it is a video of Princess Diana telling the paparazzi to, quote, "get lost." And in many interviews, and everyone that knew Princess Diana described her as a very loving and caring person, but there are multiple videos like this one that show her aggression towards the paparazzi. In an article published by Time magazine in 2021 by Kate Samuelson, they compare the paparazzi to streetwalkers because they, quote, cling to their place in society. And this eventually led to Princess Diana's passing away in a fatal car accident when she was trying to get away from this paparazzi. So with this in mind, this is how Prince Harry grew up, with being always chased in the paparazzi, and this eventually led to his mother passing when he was a young age. In an article published by BBC News by Alex Taylor in 2021, Prince Harry even says that he was scared that the history would repeat itself. And in the same article, the family even reveals an invisible contract with the media that gives privacy behind the gate, so their own home, which they did not have before. There's an documentary on Netflix, produced by Netflix in 2022, titled Harry and Meghan, and Harry reveals that Meghan and his mother are very similar in the aspect of how caring they were. They both volunteered at the same homeless or shelter for the less fortunate, and this is when Prince Harry said that he knew that this was the girl that his mom wanted for him. In the same documentary, Meghan explains how when she was first brought into the royal family, no one really taught her how to act. They didn't teach her how to dress. They didn't teach her how to introduce herself. And she had to learn this all on her own. And she claims that the media took advantage of that and wrote horrible things about her in the tabloids. She even claims that her father was paid money from these tabloids to exploit her and her relationship. And she didn't even find out her own father wasn't going to attend her wedding until she saw it on the headlines. According to gov.uk in 2022, only 4% of the population in Britain are Black Briton, and only 2.9% are mixed race. So this puts an even bigger target on Meghan Markle's back because she falls in that 2.9%. The whole narrative around her was different. I have an article from the same exact news headline from Kate when she was pregnant, which is Prince William's wife, and it is her holding her baby bump. And the headline is "Pregnant Kate Endearingly Cradles Her Baby Bump." And the same exact news article a year later posted the same thing of Meghan holding her baby, and it said, or baby bump, and it says, "Why can't Meghan Markle just keep her hands off her baby bump?" And if this is just one example that shows how the media was so, the narrative around Meghan was just so different. And in this same documentary on Netflix, Meghan reveals that this led her down a era of depression and self-harm. And when she revealed this to Prince Harry, it is what eventually led them. It was the final straw of them leaving the royal family, according to them. So with all this research, the royal family is not at all what I thought it was. And Prince Harry and Meghan Markle made the best decision for themselves and for their family. And they said that in that documentary as well. And they did that for the betterment of their children in the future. Okay.
That was good. I like the topic, actually.
Yeah, I like the topic too, like a lot.
Thank you.
Yeah, I don't really keep up with the royal family, so that was a lot of information I never even thought about at all.
Yeah.
So I loved your visuals, by the way.
Thank you.
That's a large family tree. I didn't know.
Yeah,
I know. I didn't realize how big it was.
but you
sound,
did like a really good job. You didn't really bore like it. I was really like, I was listening.
Attentive the whole time.
Yeah.
Yay.
Yeah, I mean, just like last time your speech, like you have a very conversational way of speaking.
Thank you.
And so it doesn't seem like robotic or anything. This is really good. You did a good job.
Thank you. Who was next? Lauren?
Me. Okay, so my speech is about informing the audience the dangers of technology usage of children. Have you ever been to a restaurant and you sit down, you look around, and the table next to you, you see a kid on a phone. And throughout the dinner, you glance over every now and then, and you keep seeing that kid on the phone. Oh, my fire alarm's going off. Can someone else go real quick?
Yeah, you go check that out. Make sure everything's okay. Okay, you'll go third. I think that means that Allie's next.
Yeah, I'll go ahead.
Okay.
Yeah, seated. No. I'm trying to make sure you can see it so you don't say I don't have no visual. Can I see it?
That's good. Yeah.
Okay. Okay. My name is Alexandra McQuay, and my speech is concerning the new laws that Jackson, Mississippi has passed that are related to Jim Crow laws. Okay. I know you probably wonder why there's a big picture of flowers and trees and looks like it's a bunch of nothing. But in all actuality, this is the capital of Mississippi, Jackson, Mississippi. And recently they have had a blast from the past. Jackson, Mississippi has taken a huge progression in their political powers with bringing back Jim Crow law systems. Social outlets have been in uproar ever since the idea of bringing back Jim Crow laws were presented in the political media in the beginning of the new year. This conversation has been more prevalent within the African American community, and they've had a personal relationship with this segregated laws mentality. A media organization called the Black Press USA informs African Americans about significant events like the one we're discussing right now. The Black Press USA has been following this topic from the start. I'm so sorry, my context messing up. From the start, me and the voices of the community were expressed as follows. State, I'm so sorry, my contacts are literally messing up. I'm sorry, can somebody else go? My contacts are, I need to put my solution in.
I can go.
I'm so sorry.
You're good. Can I share my screen? I have a PowerPoint. Who's the host of the meeting?
Me.
Okay, so I'm having trouble. It says I can't share my screen because the host disabled participant screen sharing.
Okay, just try it now.
All right, hold on one second. There we go. All right, thank you. Hold on one second. I'm wondering if I can get you guys off this screen. Hold on one second. I know what I could do. Okay. All right. Do you guys see yourselves on the screen? Or is that just
See you
me?
in the PowerPoint.
Okay, because on my screen it was showing like the PowerPoint and y'all. All right, cool. All right. Okay. Well, my presentation is on color theory and its applications in art and media. All right. Color is a very large part of our everyday lives. It helps us in situations such as navigating the flow of traffic, guiding us during emergencies, such as exit signs or fire trucks, and even in intimate moments in life, such as baby showers, when you're announcing the gender of a baby. However, color also has a very potent and innate ability to control people's perceptions. And as an art student of USM's art and design program for going on the last 4 years, I'm very aware of this ability to almost manipulate people's minds in a way. Color is an essential part of our modern life, and I will demonstrate how both fine artists and commercial businesses use color theory to deliver their messages. To explain my points, I will first describe the basic principles of color and explain how it is used in fine arts, and in marketing and business. So starting with the principles of color, there's a lot to go over, so I won't go over them all. By the way, can you guys see my notes? I'm just curious. Okay, I'm good. So we'll just go over the first 3 basic principles of color, and that's hue, chroma, and value. Hue is simply the color's appearance in relation to the color spectrum. Or in layman's terms, it's the color of the color. Hue is the difference between red and yellow, yellow, green, green, teal, and blue. Chroma is the saturation of the color, basically the intensity. So I have this red right here, and the further it progresses to the right side of the screen, the lower the chroma gets and becomes this high chroma red to this almost pale pink. And the last principle is value, which is basically the brightness of color. The further it progresses on the screen, the lower the value gets and the darker color gets. So what does this have to do with artists and manipulating people into thinking what they want them to think? Basically, with these principles of color, fine artists can create and dissolve design problems to create interesting compositions, which would become aesthetically pleasing to a viewer's eye. For an example, you have this painting from San Francisco Bay painter Wayne Thiebaud, Boston Creams. Now, if you look at this image, you could wonder what makes it work. For the first and foremost, if you take away the color, you'll see that Thiebaud is creating a high value key, which is basically a painting that is in a high range of tone. So from white to about middle gray, it's a pretty light painting and it gives it a sense of unity. Alongside that, he's also using the basic primary color scheme of yellow, blue, and a tinge of red. This color scheme is really important because it creates all the rest of the colors on the color wheel. And not only that, but it's its own triadic color scheme. However, this high chroma red, yellow, blue cannot sustain a painting by itself. So what's making it work? Alongside these high chroma colors, you have this very bland, low saturated background, which gives this high chroma something to push against. In another example, you have a painting from Walter Sickert, Reclining Nude. Now, if you take the color away from this one, the painting is in a middle key, which means it's not too light and not too dark. It's right in the middle of the value spectrum. Bring the color back in and it's composed of dull greens and reds, which are complementary colors. Colors basically on the opposite sides of the color wheel. So you have orange, blue, yellow, purple, green, and red. This gives it a sense of unity because not only are they complementary colors, but they're also both dull. So no one color is overpowering the other, especially since red is a really strong color. However, if this was the only case, this painting wouldn't be interesting. So how do you get this image to work? You introduce a relatively high chroma, high saturated red in the bottom right corner of the painting. And so it gives it a little bit of intrigue and life into an otherwise dull world. For a more relatable example of color theory, we have Disney Pixar's The Incredibles. Now, this film uses color in the context of storytelling. So it's a little different than the paintings from before, but it's still just as effective. The prologue of this film, if you've seen it, uses really strong, vibrant colors to portray the romanticization of the life of a superhero. And it plays on positive emotions with those yellows and oranges that contrast with the purple. However, following sequences in the film are juxtaposed with dull tones to emphasize an atmosphere of blandness and depression and just really make this oppressive tone. Now, color in commercial art is less about solving visual problems like in fine arts and more about appealing to the emotions of consumers. Take, for instance, the color red. According to Umbrella.com's Nicole Ferreira, the color red is associated with excitement, passion, danger, energy, and action. Now, if we could take a look at some examples of red used in branding, you'll notice red is one of the most intense colors on the spectrum, first of all. And in any situation, it's likely the first color you'll notice. It's also the color that induces appetite, making it a perfect fit for food branding. So if you go around Hattiesburg, you'll find like down Hardy Street, most food places have red branding because it's the color that makes people hungry, essentially. Now, to humor this example of red, let's do blue as well. Blue is a color associated with calm, relaxation, and trustworthiness. And brands that want to be marketed as trustworthy, peaceful, will typically use blue. Brands such as Bed Bath & Beyond, Dasani, Febreze, and also brands like Walmart or like Facebook that want to be seen as trustworthy. So in conclusion, these examples show just by how heavily the usage of color is considered in artistic professions, as well as the products we buy, and how it has the ability to affect our cognition. Hopefully, by explaining color theory and giving examples of these colors in fine art and graphic design, a bit of insight was gained on your behalf. If you were to take anything away from my presentation, I hope some curiosity about color was sparked, and maybe you'll think a little bit differently about the world we live in and the colors that surround us. Thank you.
That was good.
That's very
I
interesting.
like the pictures that you used and stuff.
Yeah, that was
Thank
really
you.
great.
Thank you.
Yeah, it had a good flow
Trying
to
to
it.
exit my.
I mean, it feels like a professional speech, like someone who's like explaining color theory to people.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you. Thank you. I was stressing over it. I'm not gonna lie.
Oh, you're always good.
Yes.
Oh, thank you. Who's next?
I can
So
go ahead and start again if you want to, or you can go ahead and I'll just go last.
it's completely up to you, but we do have to start our next meeting in 3 minutes. We do have to split up the meeting.
Okay, yeah.
I was gonna ask, because last time when you recorded it, it had like a countdown, but this time it doesn't have countdown. So is it gonna stop, or can we just keep going and see? Because it hasn't given me a notification or anything.
Okay, and it's still recording?
Mhm.
We can try. I don't know. Let's try to see if it'll go over the couple minutes mark. So I don't want someone to be in the middle of their speech and then have to stop. And
Is Lauren okay? Did she come back?
I don't know. I don't know what's going on.
Probably somebody that overcooked their food or something.
She's probably outside right now.
Mm-hmm. And they at least like wait 10 to 15 minutes just for them to come back in.
Right.
I mean, if we're all done by the time she gets back, we can always like join in 30 minutes and just listen, because we can do it on our phones or something.
Well, we could, since we have to do a different meeting anyways. Oh yeah, the notice.
Yeah.
Oh, and in 10 minutes. Okay.
Oh, okay. Then someone else can go. There we go.
Okay. Let me snooze the second meeting. Did you want to go, Allie?
Yeah, I can go ahead. My contact's doing right now. So go ahead while they still going good. Okay. My name is Alexandra McCoy, and I'll be talking about the Jim Crow laws, the recent Jim Crow laws that have been reinstated into Jackson, Mississippi. I know you're probably looking at the screen right now, wondering why there's a picture of a bunch of trees and flowers in the pathway. Well, that is our state capital of Mississippi, Jackson, Mississippi, and recently they have just reinstated laws that are very similar to Jim Crow laws. Recently, Jackson, Mississippi has had a blast from the past, and it has taken a huge progression in the political power. We're bringing back the Jim Crow law system. Social outlets have been in the uproar ever since the idea of bringing back Jim Crow laws were presented in the political media in the beginning of the new year of 2023. The conversation has been more prevalent within the African American community as they have personal relationship with this segregated mentality. A media organization called Black Press USA informs African Americans about significant events such as the one that we're discussing today. Black Press USA has been following this topic from the start, and the voices of the community were and the voices of the community were saying that the state of Mississippi has made progress overall, especially in terms of racial issues, but the recent events that they have just exposed has made it regress. Mississippi has constantly had kept up the speculation that they are not only underdeveloped, but as a state, they have been stuck in old times, such as racism, that they have not moved on from there. Learning of the history of the South, especially Mississippi, was a constant cycle of targeting the African American community. There are constant cases that refer back to this era, such as the bill Jackson, Mississippi just recently passed in 2023. This specific case has not been the only occurrence that transpired in Mississippi in recent years. Mississippi has continued to show America that they are living in the past, and the capital, as stated, Jackson, Mississippi has passed a bill that recently just told other Americans that we are going back to olden times. Jim Crow laws were created in the late 1960s in order to keep African Americans from the same liberties white Americans were able to have. The rise of the white supremacy was the rise of segregation and heinous crimes toward African Americans. Moving into the present day on the political party of Mississippi have decided to bring this law back concerning the judicial system so that white supremacy could have their own side of the judicial system, and then African Americans can have their own side of the judicial system. This specific law has raised questions to the African American community and outside citizens that have been caused to believe that Mississippi is less prejudiced from the past. The state of Mississippi has been working hard to create a flawless good influence on other states, especially northern states. As a result of the South's efforts to change the bad labels that have been associated with them since the commencement of World War I. Mississippi was not the first state to highlight racism as a way of life in the past, but it is one of the most looked at states for racism and prejudice toward the African American community. Past life of the African American community in Mississippi was a course of field with Jim Crow laws and this segregated public settings, judicial affairs, and even transportation. And as you see in the second picture right here is just a picture representing how an African American man had to use a colored water fountain instead of the other side, which you can't see because of him, but it is a white wine fountain that he was not able to use. And if you just see in the corner up here, it just specifically says white women and colored women just for the bathroom. This specific law also created a prejudiced environment for African Americans. Violence is at an all-time high to keep this community in their place so that they were not aware of what could come. The amount of violence that the Jim Crow laws stood for was the scene that African Americans face daily. There are so many negative factors that are tied into Jim Crow laws, and the establishment of this law contradicts everything that Americans have fought so hard to make Americans believe. By the late 1870s, resurrection was thrown to an end, stated by the Constitutional Rights Foundation. Most white politicians abandoned the cause of protecting African Americans in the interest of repairing the wounds between the North and the South. And this next picture is just demonstrating how the transportation, like stated before, how it was segregated between white Americans and African Americans. And it was just a picture representing the movement of Martin Luther King Jr. And then it was just reinstating about remembering to celebrate how everything was desegregated. These set of laws were a reflection of how white Americans viewed African Americans in society. Lowering the respect and value of this community was a way that Jim Crow laws could maximize their power in the South. This tragic way of the life of the African Americans was a moment of vulnerability, of change, and hope for a better life. Southern states such as Mississippi has had a constant reputation of being racist and prejudiced, only to cover up the truth, what was really going on within the state. The Black Foundation has stated that Southern states adopted new constitutions and voting laws designed to disfranchise Black voters during this era. And that's it.
We might have to give our feedback in the next video.
Yeah, the recording's about to cut off.
Okay,
Okay.
we'll go ahead and do that. Let me set up a next meeting since we ran over our time for the other one.